everyone, and welcome to Bob's Garden. We're here in the northwest hills of Connecticut in the second week of September. It's a pretty hot day for September, and we have some pruning to do on our juniper. This is Juniperis chinensis procumbens nana. It makes an excellent ground cover. It has very tiny leaves and a nice trunk, and it makes excellent bonsai material. These older specimens have a short, fat trunk, and they're not really useful for bonsai. But if we stake them up when they're young, we can get some length between the bottom of the trunk and where the foliage begins, and it makes excellent bonsai. So we're going to borrow a technique from bonsai to prune these. When we use bonsai techniques in garden specimens, that's called niwaki. So we're going to use that, our bonsai rules to prune this. Now I started this batch, maybe 20 years ago, and it does need some cleaning up now. We like to, in bonsai, we like to remove downward growing growth. I haven't worked on this yet. I'm going to clean this up, and we also like to have a flow to it. We make what they call a space for the birds to nest. It's a common bonsai technique by opening this up and making something interesting. Now we cannot allow this to grow down to the pavement because it's just going to burn out. It should actually have some distance. So as long as you have to lift it up like this, we might as well give it some kind of shape. And we do these effects with this cascading. We have, in Japan and China, you see these trees growing over the cliffs, and they cascade down the cliffs. So we're kind of mirroring nature that way, and to create an interesting pruning technique. So over on this side, we have a much younger planting of the same juniper as we have on the other. And I've been working on this for maybe, I think 5 years now. And you see it's starting to get close to the pavement here. Now, when I prune this, I'm going to follow the direction that's naturally there. I'm not going to try to force it into another direction. So we have some flow going this way. We have some dead in here that needs to come out. And on this one, you can see it's going this way. So I'm just working with the material as I find it. I'm going to get this cleaned up. I want to show you what it looks like. But these are very, very easy to prune. You can just prune anywhere, and you can even prune the foliage through the foliage. This is what we do for bonsai. So in here, we would just take something like these leaders out, and you can see it you don't even see the cuts when it flushes back like that. So I'm going to do this wall. It's going to take me probably a couple hours, and then we'll show you the results. So there are several important points I want to make now, and one is to understand the growth habit of these junipers. Conifers such as pine and spruce have what's called determinate growth. That means that they have one period where they put on all the growth in the early spring, and that's it for the season. Whereas junipers have semi-determinate growth. They continually push out new growth through the season. Now I like to wait till towards the end of the season, like early September like we are now, to do this kind of pruning. First of all, if you do it in the middle of summer, you're going to get a lot of browning out in through here, and it's not really healthy for the plant. So if you're going to do it earlier in the season, wait for a cloudy day or a couple cloudy days so they don't burn out. But you will still get some browning, so don't worry about that. The other thing is to make sure you have enough mass at the end of these limbs here. If you leave too little down here, it's going to die back all the way back. Now, because we have this semi-determinate growth, it's going to bud out on these stems in here, these limbs. And you can see what's happening here. You should expect that. So there's a couple ways to treat that. One is to just pinch it off like this with your thumb and your forefinger, and the other way is to use your Felcos and get that out of there. So expect that kind of growth, and what happens during the season, you'll treat this as your framework. What's already here, this is your framework. So you're just going to prune back to that framework right there. and keep that area clean. So throughout the season, as it's growing, I'll come through here and I'll pinch those off and keep those clear. So let me show you what's going on in the area that we did today. So you can see this work that we did on this today to give it some nice shape, going with the flow of where this wants to grow and not dominating the plant by doing it the way we want to do, taking cues from the plant from which way it's growing and using that to our best advantage. So as we come through here, we can see these open spaces in here like you would do with bonsai. I love doing this because it's like working on one giant bonsai. And we see this downward growth taken out, making a space for the birds to nest. And this gives us more air circulation. With the stone here, it gets quite hot and a lot of moisture, and it gets very humid. So it deters the growth in there. So by keeping this open like this, it gives some air circulation. Now we don't have to prune anything up here. That we leave alone. The only part I prune is coming off of the stone wall. So this is a great thing to try. It's a beautiful cascading effect. It's kind of the things that you would see in scenery in China and Japan and the islands with the growth coming down the cliffs. That would be a cascade style bonsai. And it's because we're doing it in a landscape, of course, it's called niwaki. So that pretty much gives you an idea. You can try this out. Don't be afraid to prune. Leave these masses behind. You'll get some budding out and through here. And it makes for a very lovely aesthetic and pleasing display. So thank you for watching Bob's Garden, and we'll see you next time. Please share, subscribe, and comment on my videos. Remember, be curious, not judgmental.